Welcome, beekeepers and future beekeepers. In today's video, which may be called Lesson Number 1, I will present to you the main beekeeping accessories necessary for starting your beekeeping activity.
Аксесуари, които са необходими за стартиране на пчеларската дейност.
The first thing you will need is a beekeeping veil.
Пчеларското було. То може да бъде
It can be just an upper body covering like this one here, but it can also be a full body
може
suit.
да бъде и цял костюм. Аз лично
I use this type of beekeeping veil, which covers only the upper part of the body. There are different models.
може да бъде
This one is slipped on like this.
нахлузва. Ето така. И си слагате
And you also slip in your hands.
или може да
Or
бъде
it could be in the form of a jacket.
вече това е според вашите
What you choose depends on your preferences.
това, което ви харесва, но това,
What's
което трябва
important
да ви
is the net in
показва
front.
отпред. Да дават
It should provide enough visibility.
така че
I encourage you to test different types before choosing,
добре, защото
because some are not very convenient,
през които не се
especially when looking into the cell bottom to see freshly laid eggs.
виждата в
This task can be challenging at the beginning.
следващото
The next thing is gloves.
ръкавиците. Те
They
трябва
should be made of leather and have long sleeves
и
so that when you put them on, they protect your arms from stings.
като сложите ръкавицата, ето така, да ви защитават от краката, от оживления,
The leather should be soft so you can easily work with the frames in the beehive.
да може да пипате лесно в кошера рамките. Разбира се,
Of course, you should have beekeeping literature.
колкото повече прочетете,
The more you read before you start, the better. The other very important tool before opening the beehive is the smoker.
пушалка.
You ignite a fire inside, and it produces smoke to calm the bees.
И е хубаво да се
What you can use as fuel will be the subject of another video.
това в някой друг епизод.
The smoker is an essential tool.
Нещо. И другото задължително нещо
Another essential tool you will need is the hive tool.
с рамкоповдигачът
It is used to lift the sticky frames more easily.
реално е че
Because bees tend to propolis everything in the beehive.
с прополис и той ви улеснява работа. Има различни модели.
There are different models of hive tools.
Този
For example, this is another model with a frame lifter.
в общи линии
You should try different ones and choose the best for you.
че повечето пчелари си купуват.
Most beekeepers have several hive tools. This is the basic one, and I personally prefer the other one with the frame lifter.
Не, честно казвам,
I would not recommend this type of hive tool.
и това
This summarizes the most important equipment needed in the beginning. Now, regarding the beehives, I will show you two of the most popular beehives in the EU and the USA.
да дам блат,
The Dadant beehive, and, behind me, the Langstroth Rut LR beehive. What are the main differences between these two beehives?
сега
The beehives differ in the number of frames inside.
това колко рамки могат да се съберат вътре в един кошер.
And this difference in frame size is the main reason various beehive models exist.
Вътре и размерите. Сега,
Let me explain the main characteristics of these two beehives. The Dadant beehive has a brood box and a honey super, where the honey is stored. The size of the frames in the brood box and the super differs.
ето това е
This is a brood box frame, which fits inside.
което се слага вътре.
This beehive has 12 frames, but the most popular models have 10 frames, and there are also 8-frame hives. This is the honey super frame. Both frames are placed in the beehive, one over the other. The honey super is placed above the brood box when there is enough nectar flow in nature, so the bees can collect nectar and convert it into honey for the beekeeper. Otherwise, the bee colony lives and develops in the brood box, where they raise their offspring and store honey for themselves for the winter. The other type is the Langstroth rut, LR frame. Compared to the Dadant brood box frame, it is smaller, but compared to the super frame, it is slightly larger. The LR beehive consists of several same-sized boxes. Unlike the Dadant hive, which has a large brood box and smaller super boxes, the LR beehive has only one size of boxes, which are placed one above the other. Depending on the region and nectar flow, the bee colony uses 1 or 2 boxes for development. In other words, 1 or 2 boxes serve as the brood chamber. The brood box or brood chamber is the part of the hive where the queen lays eggs, and the bee colony lives and develops. The Dadant hive has a fixed brood box, just one. The LR hive could have 1 or 2 brood boxes, and the third box serves as the honey super. In regions with less pasture, the bee colony will develop in just 1 brood box, and the second will be used as a honey super. It is convenient that all frames in the LR hive are the same size, whereas in the Dadant hive the frames differ. The beekeeping techniques used for Dadant and LR hives differ, and you have to decide which works better for you. Depending on your region and the honey flow, the LR beehive could theoretically be more productive. However, it depends on many factors, so this is not universally true. Let's see what's beneath the roof. Regardless of whether it is a Dadant or LR beehive, in general, the structure is the same. We have the frame cover, which covers the bee colony. Usually there is this opening where you can place an additional feeder during periods when the bees need extra food. The feeder is placed like this. Below, it has an opening through which the bees enter. The feeder opening fits the frame cover opening. On one side, the sugar syrup is added, and on the other, the bees enter the feeder and consume the syrup. There are many different types of feeders. I will show you another feeder model. This one fits over the entire box and replaces the frame cover. You can add more syrup at once here, or you can add a sugar patty on the other side during the winter. Depending on your needs, you can decide which feeder suits you best. These are the hive boxes. During the winter, the bee colony stays in one of them, and during the active season, we add more boxes to increase the hive's volume. I won't go into further detail about hive management techniques, as that is another long topic. The frames are put in the hive like this, and this beehive can have up to 10 frames per box. So you have become beekeeper, and with God's help at the end of the season, you will be able to collect some honey from the bee family. You will need this type of carrying case. Inside, you will place the honeycombs to transport them to the honey extractor. Beside the carrying case, you will also need this type of brush. What is this brush used for? When you remove the honeycombs from the hive, You use the brush to remove the bees gently. All the bees should be brushed off and fall back into the hive. After this, you place the honeycomb in the carrying case and close it. Then, you take the next honeycomb, brush off the bees, open the carrying case, place the honeycomb inside, and transport it to the extraction area. The brush itself is made of natural materials, in our case, horsehair. There are different types, but it is better if it's made of natural materials. If you don't have a brush, you can use long blades of grass. But this is an advanced beekeeping technique. Extracting the honey. Once in the extraction room, we have the extractor and the honey uncapping tray. There are several tools for uncapping. The classic one is this special knife, which gently removes the wax sealing the honey inside the comb. The other option is to take a honey uncapping fork. With its help, you can gently remove the wax capping. There is a technique for how to do that. Maybe I will show it in another video. And also, another model of an uncapping fork, which is similar, but the uncapping here works in reverse. You are pulling the fork here instead of pushing like the other one. And as we already mentioned, the knife, which is special with a special curve close to the handle. This curve makes it easier to use for uncapping. After we have uncapped the honeycomb from both sides, it is put into the extractor, where the honey is extracted from the comb. This is the honey extractor. It is opened like this. This one can fit 3 Dadant brood frames or 3 LR frames. We put them like this. Here, one more, and one more. Or it can fit 12 Dadant honey super frames, which fit inside like this. There are different kinds of extractors. This is the most basic one. You should choose according to your needs. Regarding the frames, one more important thing. I showed you ready-wired frames with wax foundation, but they actually don't come like this. They are disassembled in parts, and the beekeeper assembles them. For those who have more time available and desire to do this job, you can do it by yourself, to assemble your frames, to put wire and wax foundation. You can buy tools to do that. Inox wire, disassembled frames, other tools that you will need, and the wax foundations that you will need to buy. Me personally, as a hobby beekeeper with not so many beehives, prefer to buy the frames ready for installment. Of course, this comes at a bit higher price, but saves a lot of work and time. As a conclusion, I have presented you the most needed tool to start your beekeeping practice: hive, veil, hive tool, smoker, frames, carrying box, extractor, and more or less this is it, so you can start. I recommend starting with 3 to 5 beehives. You can combine, for example, 2 Dadant hives, 2 LR hives, so you can compare the bee development in the different hive systems, and based on that to choose which system do you like more. In the next video, I will present the top bar beehive, which is my favorite beehive to do beekeeping. Thanks for your
Благодаря ви за
attention and
вниманието
hope to
и
see
ви
you on the
очаквам на
apiary
пчелина като
as a
бъдещи
beekeepers.
пчелари.